What's up guys, hope you're all well. So this is quite an unusual video talking about when you are in the position that your property is being repossessed. And look, there's a couple of reasons that sparked this debate and me doing this video. First is that we are in a really strange position where we are coming out the end of a pandemic. There's huge job losses, but the property market is booming. That added with record low interest rates does mean that we are sort of gearing up for a recipe of disaster should property prices stop increasing and plateau or even start declining. Then we've got a position where people have paid too much for their properties on record low interest rates, and when it comes to refinance, they're gonna really struggle. And back in 2008, you will remember one of the reasons that people started losing homes and properties is because the value had dropped so much that they couldn't refinance, which meant that their fixed term deal came to an end, and then they were on a standard set of bank rates, which meant the mortgage payments were unaffordable and they definitely weren't being covered by things like rental income. But the other reason that has sparked this video is that a lot of the companies that I follow of other property investors and developers show information about the company on the public records on Companies House. And you can see when a receiver is appointed, and a receiver being appointed is pretty much the steps that the property has been repossessed and it's going to be sold on the open market so that the lender or the investor can start to recover some, if not all, their funds. And that is absolutely brand new to me. I am fortunate enough to never have been in a position where I've even had a notice from a lender that the process could even start of a property being repossessed, let alone in a position where the property has been taken by the receiver and it's then in the process of being sold to someone else on the open market. It's so new, it's so alien to me that I find it fascinating that people's businesses don't completely collapse when this happens. And I find it really interesting that in the same breath, there are companies and individuals who are talking about their latest deal, their latest development, and we're talking about massive projects. But at the same time, there's properties that they were involved in a few years ago that have now been repossessed because nothing has materialised and they're on the open market for sale. Or there's evidence on Companies House that there's other deals within their portfolio about to be repossessed. I just can't seem to comprehend about how the two can go together in the same company. It did strike me that this could just be another hurdle, albeit a massive one, that some companies take in their stride and they see it as part and parcel of property investing and development. And I would be really interested to hear from anyone who has been in a similar situation, not just now, but also back in the 2008 crash. And then more recently, I saw about half a dozen properties come to the market via an auction. And I was really interested to buy a couple of these properties. So I tried to do a deal outside of the auction. And I was really aggressive and I was really bolshy with my offers. They were way above the guide. And the receiver had to take note of them. They had to listen to them. But the reason why they couldn't take my offer, so I found out, is because they had to let it go to the auction and they had to let the person or the company that they'd repossessed the properties from the time frame to maybe try and come to a deal where they could buy those properties back. And do you know what? There was two properties I was desperate to buy, and the person, the individual who had the property stripped away from their company, he ended up calling me because he'd heard on the grapevine that I was looking to buy them. And he said to me, look, there's been a real issue internally and a couple of the guys that he's had to now fire made some real big errors and didn't pay mortgage payments and kept the information hidden from him. And as a result, he stepped in, got rid of those guys, and he's now going to buy those properties back. So he said to me, it's not worth you wasting your time, which I thought was really fair. And I really respected him picking up the phone and having a conversation with me. But again, just talking to this guy who sounds to be like a very experienced business and property owner, it's absolutely fascinating that this can just be part and parcel of another side of the property investing world. But I do suppose it does make us all stand up and really think about the types of deals to do and the people we should jump in bed with. Some of the companies that I follow that have got multiple repossessions orders underway, or that their deals are now on the open market to be sold, also have disgruntled investors. So much so that I've even had phone calls from private investigators trying to find information out on the individual who has literally taken money via a Ponzi scheme and just rinsing and repeating that on the same deal 3 or 4 times over. And it does tend to all lead to the same type of deals and individuals. The glitzy, the glamorous, and the most talked about deals. I'm not talking about the down and dirty ex-local authority houses that you can buy one and turn it into a student house. I'm talking about the things like large developments, large commercial conversions, things that require huge amount of investment, huge amounts of experience, and the right professionals to steer you in the right direction. And you can go from a deal which is geared up to make £1 million to loss making within a matter of bad decisions or unexpected hurdles. That's one of the reasons why when I semi-retired coming up to 18 months ago, I made a decision to exit large developments and large conversions. I'm talking like 30, 40, 50 units in each one. Because I found within my experience, when you break down the time, the effort, the energy, and the cash required to make those deals happen, the end return on capital employed, or the return on investment of the full picture, not just the cash, didn't stack up. I'd much rather do 6 smaller deals in a time frame which is 3 times quicker and make overall more money. And it also diversifies as my own risk portfolio and comfort level to what I want to be doing. And if one of those deals did go wrong, it doesn't impact the other ones that are involved in. And just judging by what I've seen on the open market, what I've seen at Companies House, these repossessions are becoming more frequent. And the reason has to be because deals are being over leveraged, over promised, and undercosted. And look, everyone can say, hand on heart, that they've been guilty of that at some point. It is part of the nature of the beast when it comes to property. Things do go wrong. But when it's happening multiple times with multiple companies or the same company, questions have to be asked. And I do think that even though it definitely seems to be part of people's strategies, that having sites repossessed is just part and parcel of being a property investor, I personally would be devastated. I would be heartbroken if I ever found myself in that situation. So I do think that if you are in a position where you are potentially finding yourself entering a deal, or you are already in a position where it could be repossessed, or the deal you're involved in could be repossessed, I think it's probably best not to stick your head in the sands and try and tackle it head on. But I don't speak from experience because I have never been in that position. But look, this is a bit of an open-ended video, one up for debate. I would love to hear your thoughts on it, love to hear comments and about anyone else's experience with this. But that's it from me. Stay safe. Hope you found the content rich.
Turn down for what?